Rashad, why you didn't
Anyways,
hit me up?
Rashad. Hey, Rashad.
What's up, Rashad?
Thank you, Rashad.
Brother, I love you, brother.
What's up, Rashad? What it do, boy?
Hey, Rashad.
welcome back to the channel. My name is Rashad Milligan. If you are new to the channel, this is the road to 10K subs. Today we have a very, very special guest in the building. As you see from the title, we have an Atlanta activist in the building. She is also a community member at the place where Officer Gerald Walker was policing at a point in time. She has firsthand experience with Mr. Gerald Walker. And Gerald Walker, if you're wondering who that is, he is the officer who was off duty working security at 5 Paces Inn, the bar in Buckhead, where Linton Blackwell's life ended after Gerald Walker hit him 17 times in the back. With that being said, we would like to welcome to the stage Miss Kimberly Brooks. Kimberly, how you doing today? Hey!
Right, I finally got everything together to get on, right?
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Hello, everyone. Good. Coming from Atlanta, the best place in the city, in the world to live, if you did not know. So I'm always welcoming the people here, of course. Just trying to change, being the change that we want to see, right? Bringing awareness to the issues of the things that we have and having uncomfortable conversations. So this is where we are.
Yes, well, I appreciate
everyone.
Kimberly, I just wanted to say I appreciate your willingness to come on and share your perspective, because your perspective is a new one and a fresh one, and we need the voice of the community in this to bring the full story to light. So thank you for taking the time out your day. I know you have a busy schedule with some personal stuff going on, so thanks for setting some time for us. All right, cool. So with that being said, as I mentioned in the introduction, this is Gerald Walker, the officer who hit, as you see here from the diagram, Linton Blackwell B. Green, former artist with DTE, entrepreneur, local businessman, and community member on East Lake Meadows legend, 17 times in the back on October 11th at the Buckhead Bar, 5 Paces Inn. This is the officer right here, Gerald Walker. He joined the Atlanta Police Department in 2023. And speaking of Miss Kimberly Brooks, she has a photo, which I'll be pulling up right now. Hold on, give me a second. Let me go. I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to reshare to get that thing up. And right here from 2023, the year that Gerald Walker started with the Atlanta Police Department. Wow. And here he is with harassing a local resident of hers, a neighbor, and things of that sort. So with that being said, Kimberly, what was your experience with Officer Gerald Walker?
So basically, I live in the city, and let's just make it clear, I like police officers, and this is not like, I'm not one of those people like forget the police. I just believe in quality, officers, and that's with any job. So I was at home, and what happened is the officer came knocking on my door, like banging very hard with this resident. I covered her face. So he knocks on the door and he's like, do you have a phone, an iPhone? So he was alleging that I've stolen someone's phone. I'm not a thief, and I don't like being called a thief, for one. So he's very aggressive and adamant about it. And I don't want to be rude to a police officer, but I would slam the door on you. And that's what I told him you do. And I asked him, I said, do you know the law? I said, do you know the law? Because that's a civil charge. Like you can't knock on someone's door with a tenant saying her phone is saying this is here. So after I closed the door with him, my neighbor called me and said that he was at our back door at her door, knocking on her door, asking the same thing. So I'm working, so I'm not really paying attention to it, kind of, sort of. But in my mind, I'm like, why is this police officer knocking on people's door with a tenant saying, you have to have a warrant, you have to have like different, that says, where did you go to law school? So I took this picture of him because he was outside the door. And like I said, he was aggressive. And I really didn't pay any attention to it at that time because it was just an incident. Unfortunately, living in that community, things like that happen. So I was like, you know what, just leave it alone. Now, there was a second incident. Do you want to hear about that one now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm always bothering kids in my community because I love them. And policing, I talked to the NPUY meeting about heavy policing in the area. because it's still a community. Regardless of what you allege the people in that community do, you still have to police them properly. So when I would see police officers or police cars, I would go and observe to make sure that people in that community understood their rights, because a lot of times I just realized they didn't. So I passed a few of my kids, I'll say for lack of better words, and they were walking in their normal group, and I passed them. So on the way back, after I saw the police scene, it looked pretty secure. I'm not going to interfere with the police investigation. So I was like, turn back around, mind your business. On the way back, I saw those same children that I saw passing being questioned by this officer again, the same officer. And I stop and I pull my truck over. Of course, it's a police officer, so I'm going to approach with respect. So I asked him, I said, how are you doing? And he was like, these kids are carrying guns. They have weapons. That baby's face, the little boy that was sitting there, he was so scared. He was so scared. The mama syndrome kicked in 500,000 times, because you don't scare children. And he was just like standing there doing every single thing the police officer scared to scare. I said, where are the parents? He was like, well, kids are carrying guns around here. They're carrying guns. And I said, you still can't question them without the presence of their parents. So I said, they need to go, and I need your name, where you can have my name and my badge number and everything else. Now, mind you, this is after the incident that I had with him. And when I went home and I looked at the picture, I said, this man looks familiar. And I realized it was the same officer that had knocked on my door earlier. I think we had the NPUY meeting the next day. And I got on the NPU meeting, and just people need to pay attention to 17 times. And I told the police on that call, because the NPU is a City of Atlanta platform base that's recorded. And I said, this guy is a problem. There's an officer harassing people in this community. And I think they told him that I mentioned him, because on a separate occasion, when I went out into the community, he was like, I know your name. Your name is Kimberly Brooks. I know who you are. And it's like, did you scan my tags? Like, how did you know my name? How did I? And it bothered me, but at this point, I didn't even pay attention to it. So fast forward, scrolling up TikTok, I see one of the people that I know in the community, and he was like, yes, my cousin was shot X amount of times. And I heard about the shooting, and I just hear about it. And I saw the police officer's face. And, we are women, we do investigations, we got to go back and do a collage cut and put the face next to it. And I was like, is this the same officer? And I was like, I'm cutting and doing my little investigative thing. And I said, this better not be the same officer. This better not be the exact same officer. I didn't even know he had just started the force. So I reached out on TikTok, and I was like, I complained against this officer. If people in the community are saying they complained and it's privileged information and you can't disclose them, tell them I complained myself. I know I did. So, to know that somebody is on the force that has a history like this, I tell people all the time I play the devil's advocate, and that's even when I'm on the unfavorable side, because it doesn't matter what you want. What matters most is what should be done, what can be done, and what we have to do. So the reality of it is maybe we don't want to accept or believe that we have a police force capable of doing these things. But failing to acknowledge those things only allows it to become more catastrophic and overwhelming and unable to control. So while we all want to agree and love police, which we should, because we need law and order, we cannot continue to deny that there's an issue with the Atlanta Police Department. And the reason, Rashad, there were some people that reached out to me. The reason I chose you is because you said that some people that were personally involved reached out, because I did have a reporter that reached out to me. And I'm not here to report just an officer. At City Council, I watched the meetings. There's another mother whose child has been shot, and we're not doing investigations. I was also a protester for the Rashad Brooks shooting of the police officer. This is a pattern of behavior, and there needs to be a higher level of accountability at the sheriff's office, at the Atlanta Police Department office, and our district attorney, because you're quick to put City of Atlanta on the news and accuse us of gangs and all of these other allegations. But when it's time for you to have accountability for yourself in your department, we're not seeing that. So last, and in closure, when people see a police officer and a Black person and they don't, listen to the instructions of the officer, some people fear for their lives. That's why. Some people are scared. That's why. So if you have to choose between dying on that day or trying to run away, survival, Sigmund Freud, John Piaget, Charles Darwin, 101, you live first. And if that means run, if that means resist, that's what you do, because that's humane to do. It's not you're disobeying the officer. We saw Tyree Nichols. They beat him. Police officers did. So when you know that if your death will not be, you could die. I charge my son with one thing: come home. We will deal with the rest when you get home. So if complying will get you home, comply. However, you're going to leave that other part silent. So I just want us to be in a place where I grew up with officer friendly, we didn't like the police officers all the time, but yes, we want, yes. We grew up with them. And I don't like what I'm seeing from my city. That's why I protested right there before they barricaded. I have pictures in front of that Wendy's. And we were the first protesters out there, actually. Yep. And that was literally on the corner of Pryor. They're changing the name now, and University. I live 2 blocks from there, and it was devastating. And today, Keisha Lance Bottoms was the mayor at that time, and that's why I voted for. Let's make this clear. I voted for Fonnie Willis for the district attorney. I voted for Keisha Lance Bottoms. I did, but I think when COVID hit and Black Lives Matter hit, there's a theory: fight or flight. When you have a leader, a person can act like a leader and appear to be a leader, but when the time comes for them to be a leader, that's when you find out if they are or not. And that's when we needed Keisha Lance Bottom to step to the forefront, to be a lead, without someone guiding you, without someone helping you. And she folded. She came with the City of Atlanta's power and authority. She tore down an infrastructure. She gated it up with her authority and her power, and it was a show of force. I think her and Felicia Moore, which was the city council manager at the time, said that she spoke with her, and Felicia Moore said, "Keep my name out of your mouth." And she really put a bad taste in the Black community's mouth, where there are several things you could have done in that situation, several statements that you could have made in that situation, versus setting this area up for failure. And when you did that, actually a crime happened after that. So had you just kept the facility open, or kept it open just like any other infrastructure, we would have protested. You should have done your job, and that would have been the end. But like we've said, we've seen with city officials, police officers, elected officials, the people just want democracy. And what that means is we believe in the integrity of the law. We believe in the code of the law. We're not asking you to do something extenuating or something exceptional. We're just asking you to apply the law equally across the board as it should be applied. And it's not being done.
Yes, Kimberly. And, just kind of even going off of that, when you're thinking about all of the situations that you named, and even the other Black parent at the same, like you said, recent city council meeting that you checked out that is dealing with something similar.
It's horrible.
I guess, I think Jimmy, he brings up the stat all the time about, I think he said 9 out of 10 of every person that's killed by Atlanta police are Black people. I think obviously with just kind of the demographics of the city, that kind of lines up, but that's still a very, very lopsided type of ratio. Go ahead, Kimberly.
I believe in research. That's my pet peeve. That's my thing. So when you look at the racial, the racial components of killings and police officers. So what I would do to make that valid is, of course, proximity is a something of consideration. So if there are Black police officers, there are Black people that could be the reason why you would say Black people are killed by Black police officers. So what you would do then is go to an area with white police officers and white communities. And then you examine how many white police officers are killing white officers. Now, if the killings are not the same in those communities, but they have a difference in Black communities, it's not Black on Black at all. It's that white police officers kill Black people, Black police officers kill Black people. But when you look at those numbers, Black police officers don't kill white people, right? And you also look at those numbers where the white police officers are in white communities, they don't kill anybody. And if they do, they are prosecuted under law, and there is a process. The discrepancy in the corruption and the lack of equality in that is just that. The law is not applied the same, because you don't need a law to help anyone understand how an unarmed man shot in the back 17 times is not a criminal offense. In the place of Jimmy Atkinson with Kim Song, you didn't need a grand jury indicted him for that. You understand? It was a district attorney that's Black that said he was under federal, whatever jurisdiction also. So they decided to relieve them. So you're dealing with people in the Black community that are not privy to the same level of justice when their loved ones die. And what it creates is it creates a level of hate normally, because that was his last child. I have another child, Vincent Pruitt. That was his only son in Cobb County, his only son. You can't take someone's only son from them and that was illegally or done wrong, and you didn't have an investigation from it, and say, we're investigating or anything. That person, they have a right to expect justice. So when they don't get justice, it becomes clear. It's not our belief. It's not what we think. It's not what we feel. It's not what we hope. It's not something we created. This is what we see. If a police officer unalives your loved one, you just may just have an unalived loved one, and that just may be the end. And the biggest issue is the race of our leadership. They're all Black. Our city council is Black. District attorney is Black. Sheriff's Black. Fulton County is Black. So how can I blame another race of a man or a woman on these crimes when everybody in charge to hold them accountable is the same color as me? And that's where the conversation becomes uncomfortable, because all skin folks just ain't kin folks. It's not that we don't want to, we want to start chaos. We need justice. And whatever justice looks like, as my favorite Dr. Martin Luther King said, people misconstrue that. He said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And what people misconstrue about that is they always think about Black people. No, he said injustice anywhere, meaning any type, any form, against any person, against any color, nationality. It threatens justice the next time. And the second quote that I love is, in the end, it's not the words of my enemies that I remember, but the silence of my friends. Because when you're going through these things and you're suffering and your loved one has passed, the people that abandon you, the people that are not there, you have all of these Black organizations and all of these people, but when your child is lost, nobody cares about what your enemy says. It's the people that say, hey, I'm here. It's the people that were like, I'm going to stand for you. And they're not there. And you're alone. And I think that's the most saddening part for the people that are alive and surviving. And that's why I'm here, Rashad, because don't play with me and mine in my community. Don't do that. I pray to a God. I do. And my prayers ain't those same prayers that everybody else pray. I said my Bible character is Esther. Take them all. And if the Lord say fit, because I don't fight an enemy of Black, white, Jew, Gentile, or a nationality or creed. I fight evil. When you are evil, there is no remedy for that. And people need to stop associating a race or political affiliation or a gender with evil. Evil can take any form it wants. So when you identify your enemy, you judge them by their works, not by their looks. So that's my approach to any situation. You can say whatever you want to say, but when I check your works, they need to be aligned with the words that are coming out of your mouth. And if they are not, I am not the person to pacify or sugarcoat anything.
Right. No, 100%. And I think that that's another important, like one of the more important parts about highlighting stories like this, because, people from the outside, they will just look at, okay, Atlanta has the most Black billionaires. Atlanta has the most Black. I'd assume in America, I haven't looked up the statistics, but I'd assume they have the most Black billionaires. And then you look at the leadership, the mayor's Black, like you just ran down the list. So they're like, oh, Atlanta's a utopia. It's different in Atlanta. It's not Georgia.
It is
Georgia
now. I knew it was.
But it, like you said, and while that partially true, at the same time, situations like this still do happen. And it's kind of an alarming rate. I think one is just too much, but when there's multiple cases of this that happens every year, is something that has to be looked into. I want to ask you, as I'm gonna bring up this video of Linton Blackwell at a community give back.
Don't make me cry.
Yes, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm just pulling it up because it is December 6th, and this is a time where a lot of people like Linton Blackwell, someone like a big bank and everything, all those other guys at DTE. These are just some of the things that they do around this time of year. And Linton, he won't be around to be able to do this this year and stuff like that. Shouts out to Jimmy Hill for posting this, friend of the channel, obviously. And so with that being said, going back to kind of the root of everything, everybody always says like the children are the future. We see these kids right here. I'm probably going to stop sharing
all races, yes,
because I can't be showing minors too much their faces on the internet without permission.
Yep.
So I'll probably have to blur that out on the replay. But with that being said,
that's not a disclosure, and because I'm going to go brain the cerebral now. When children have sometimes things like that, there's a disclosure that said that it may appear in public or something like that, and the parents should have to consent to that, so that platforms and things happen like this, it's not a copyright or issue or a violation of privacy. So they should have signed something to say that the child may be or may or not be, as long as it's not for something derogatory or to hurt the child. It should be fine.
Okay, all right, cool. And but going to that. The children, the base of it, the children are the future. It all starts like how you are raised as a child. Everything for the rest of your life, the older you get, the more you realize how important your childhood was to kind of your personality, everything like that. You work a lot with education. So I want to give you this time to speak about education, before we close, because I want to make sure you get that in our initial conversation.
Do we have enough time for that? How much time do we have? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you say education at the end? Education is where I begin. How dare you? But since I'm the guest here, you let me talk a lot, which I'm proud of that. I did good by stopping. No, so I'm a community educational advocate. Education is where I started. I'm a first generation college student. I'm a first generation, person that's interested in education. I'm breaking what people call generational curses, but I just call it geographical ignorance is what I relate to it as, because sometimes people just don't know, and it's not a curse. It's just when you're around things, you're not taught certain things. So because people around me, took me in, took my children in, the Boys and Girls Club, recreational centers, police athletic league, local community members, and I became this person you see, right? So would you believe that, these stitches were acquired in the girls' locker room because I was fighting, and I got into several fights, bloody fights. I was raised in 5 different projects. I was raised by Bowen Homes because I went to Douglas High School, Thomasville, Four Seasons, Mechanicsville, Grant Street. This is my city. We partied at Buckhead, Lennox Club, Chaos in Florida, and everything else in Vision when it was open. So why does that matter? Because education is the thing that allowed me to think critically and independently for myself when I didn't understand what others were saying. It's not about a book. It's not about a school. It's not about a teacher. It's about me personally being equipped to understand. And I learned that somebody's attacking my children's education. As you can see, the Atlanta public school system decided to close 16 schools. And that's so that billionaires can take over those schools, because we have a corrupt board. I was the family on the lawsuit against the governor for Nathan Deal, when the governor said that he's going to take over schools and tried to pass an amendment to do that, when he knew he never had the resources. They were just going to close those schools, all Black schools, by the way. So in closure, we thought we finished that off. We thought it was over. And here we are 15 years later. And those parties that be, those billionaires that be, they're back. So we're going to keep our schools open also. Why? Because the children are our future. And I will drop everything for the kids. So yes, 16 schools. And here's the thing. Let me just say one thing. So those people that don't understand school closing and enrollment, I petitioned to the Atlanta Board of Education to close KIPP ways, KIPP schools, Kendesi schools, and also purpose-built. What people don't know is when you hear the superintendent talk about him approaching schools, he does not have control over the most vulnerable schools. The Board of Education has put in the contract that he doesn't have control. You know who controls those vulnerable schools? Real estate companies. Did you hear me? When you were younger, did a real estate company operate your school? It's a conflict of interest because the Board of Education should not be able to enter into any type of contract with anyone that have an interest of the property for the children that they are serving to buy the property after it's over. These kids are denied IEPs, they're denied federal assistance, they are mistreated, they are bullied. And the reason that these schools, which are traditional public schools, are being low enrolled is because you sent them all to these partner and charter schools. And it's strategically designed to have all of the children go to these schools where you don't count those kids. So it looks like and creates the illusion that schools are unenrolled. They're not unenrolled. They're not. You have redirected those kids to other schools, and you've also refused to count certain children. As a researcher, I challenged the presenter. I said, we can go research toe to toe. If you can count every child enrolled in the Atlanta public school system and count those schools, your numbers don't add up to mine because you're excluding kids. And this is misleading to the public. I spoke at the public meeting. If you get that clip for the Board of Education, the day they took the vote, I spoke there for the facilities plan. I told them they were committing fraud. I also spoke for the public community meeting for a family I'm representing now. And hopefully she gets legal representation and she sues Atlanta Board of Education until every single person on that board that voted for those schools to be closed, political career is over, because that's what we need. I'm not a person to sit here and just interview. We need to put faces on the people that do these things. You don't need to feel comfortable, laughing and having photo ops and being seen with the enemy. We need to know who our enemies are. And anybody that bothers my kids, you are not my friend. The line is drawn there. These are little, I don't know, you don't have kids, but they're little beings. They're little people. And they trust us. They trust us. I'm not gonna say anything about that. Yes. So he's a good guy. Dr. Brian Johnson is a good guy, but he's just being set up like the rest of our superintendents, Dr. Kostarfin, Dr. Herring. The Board of Education, they set those people up. They set them up because they think they're going to come in and look at the Black kids. They put these kids here and they say they think we're going to, help these schools improve, help these schools grow. And then they get into the school and realize they don't even have power over it. They just want you to be a photo op to look as if you're over those schools. The Board of Education has set the superintendent up. I like Dr. Johnson. I like him. I do like him. Yep. He's a great guy. And all these amenities, what they're showing, they don't show KIPP. It's ownership. They don't show transparency for the millions of dollars they're sending to a school that's open and not doing their job. Yeah. So we're going to fight that. My 16, let's just say this. 16 schools won't be closing in my city. They will not.
I have a follow-up with that, Kimberly, like a different topic, but kind of same umbrella. Cool. I used to live in West Midtown, and the fancy way of saying Bankhead. but it's different now. So I used to live in West Midtown, and so my grocery store was Atlantic Station Publix. Like the damn people, yeah. They're closing it at the end of the month. That is, yes, there's the Whole Foods there. There's the Kroger on Howell Mill. There's the Publix around about 5-minute drive from the Atlantic Station Publix that's bigger. However, if I was walking, which, I walk a lot now, and a lot of people who live in the city, a lot of those kids at Georgia Tech, they do walk to get their groceries. Security. What do they do now?
Well, and that's why I tell people all the time, who was the person that said that basically the summary was when they come for the country, no one said anything. They came for the state, no one said anything. They came for me, no one said anything. And when, they came for me, there was silence. Basically, this has been an ongoing pattern of behavior. And I think that demographic has a voice, but you don't say anything. Everything in that community had to be voted on at an NPU meeting, at a city planning unit. But people live in those communities, and government, it seemed like, no offense to your generation, I don't want to be in politics. I'm not in, I have nothing to do with that. Yes, you do.
I'm about to say, go ahead, call them out. Call them out. I don't care.
Yes, you do. So, when you don't be involved in that, the store that you went to, it can be taken away. Why? Because you didn't say anything about you needing to be there. But the truth is, because I play devil's advocate because I'm fair, is you should be able to trust government to do what's right for you. And you should be able to do it. So people that trust government, I don't badger them because it's not their fault. Government's not trustworthy. But the reason that you see those changes is because it's a geographically financial snatch for billionaires. That area is an area that, as I'm doing some research now for housing and infrastructure in the city of Atlanta, these properties, people are realizing that buying this property for personal investments and interests, i.e. billionaires and investors, you can make money off of it. So typically you can't do this in a democratic state like California, Jersey, or like New York, because government's going to say, hey, you can come here and build. What are you going to build? How are you going to build it? Why are you building it? They're going to ask those questions because the government does. So you come to Georgia, you pay half of the fraction of the price, and then you run into our government. And it's not those questions of integrity or structural integrity or service. It's like, is it going to be pretty? Or, is it going to make our city look good? You're not asking the necessary and pertinent questions to understand. So it'll do this and this. And it's like, why would you expect for the person you're speaking with to have an interest in buying this property, tell you the truth? So that's the kind of government that we have. They lack intellectual capacity, for lack of better words. You need to be an expert in understanding the questions that are being asked of you. I'm not here to save you, honestly.
I like that term of
intellectual capacity.
Yes. Calling people stupid.
I don't want to say that because the teachers taught me not to say the other word. So you need to understand that if you're going to be over the Department of Transportation, you need to understand transportation. If you're an engineer and you're the mayor, then you should understand the water system that we operate under. We shouldn't have doggone the little cartoon with the little fountains going up all and everybody sitting up here with the water every time it freezes outside. The Cobb County, and Gwinnett County is onto it. So what's going on with the city of Atlanta? It's intellectual capacity. Hey, we're going to take a picture. The money that we need to use to provide housing with is just sitting there. And you're giving them canisters and containers by some temporary vendor that only houses half of the people here. The people in these departments and our department's head need to be performing. And I just can't, outside of, I think, Alex Wan and a few council members, the board of commissioners is possibly decent. People are continuing to elect their friends that are not smart. I said not smart. I didn't say the other word, So I don't care how you look. I am a strategic, let's talk about it. So that background that I told you that I come from, I'm a little genius. I got some professors that got into my head and they taught me some things. So I don't have to rely on the information you give me, which is what an elected official shouldn't do. I look at what you give me. I look at what's here and I do the research and see if it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I ask questions. And until you give me the answers that I need to hear that make it make sense, I'm not going to give you what you want. But you don't have leaders that know how to ask questions and examine the information given to them. So then they're just like confused, like, okay, we'll do it. And the city doesn't have a Publix. Let's talk about building and housing. You see all of these apartment complexes on the news being condemned. Are people slow or what's going on? Because they're definitely code violations. I sat in a code meeting and watched code enforcement tear down a building for $750,000. That's your money. It's your money. They use your money to take someone's property from them. But you know what they won't do? They won't condemn landlords that let people live in uninhabitable housing. You know why? Property snatch, real estate. So the same thing with that Publix. The people in those communities are more affluent. They're busy too. But the goal in the end game, which is why I'm here, which is why I'm saying this is coming to your front door soon enough, and you're going to feel the heat from it. I want to prevent that. The best is as strategically as I can to urge our young people, to urge the people that have the opportunity, that have the platform, start holding your leadership accountable. And it's boring. I don't have a life though, so you guys may have one, so it may be easier for me, but it is boring. But when you think about my daughter's friends or my children's friends, these apartments, $1,700 a month. Why? I don't want my child paying that much money for rent. And even if you could afford it, when they move out of the housing, where are the houses? Are you building houses for them to get real generational wealth? So while you're saying, as a young person, you just graduated from college, you say you want to, start a little family. Where are you guys going to live? Where are you going to buy a house? Why isn't our city thinking about that? Where are your children going to go to school? We're closing 16 schools. What are you preparing for us to not exist anymore? And just to be owned by other people? You're tearing down the schools. You're making housing unaffordable. Who's supposed to be here in the end? So I need young people to start thinking, are they trying to get rid of us all? Like, they're not planning for us to be here. You, me, senior citizens don't have, like, you can't walk the Publix. What about those people in walkers and things like that that can't get far and need those places? And my heart goes out to them. So in the end, I left government earlier this year. I won't be returning back. I started a consulting firm because the consulting firm is Kim Knows Best. And the reason I started the consulting firm is because I can't fix government from the inside. I realize that. And I don't want to fix it. But I do realize that I love you, Rashad, my children, and this community. So the change has to start somewhere. And even if it's with me or you, I want Atlanta to be not the utopia that people think it is, but we still have a lot of potential and we have good people here. We have great people here. Atlanta's not divided. We're all good people here. It's just these strangers we don't know. So I want my city back.
No, I heard that for sure. And Kim, I wanted to make sure that you got that consulting firm up again. What is it for the people? So the people can, if they want to go ahead and go into business with you or whatever the case might be.
It is Kim Knows Best LLC. I literally just started this business last year, just actually finished everything about a month ago and hit the ground running, building the website now. We'll have it up and running, and all of this stuff out of my head to come out to the public and giving you a plan. Because here's the thing, Rashad, I have a plan. Clocking in a model was, if you can't find a way, you make one. And for people that don't agree with me, I'm not here for you to agree with me. Disagree with me and give me your ideas. And we come to an agreement together. So it's Kim Knows Best. Me, I'm Kim.
Yeah, and where can people get in contact with you?
You can reach me at, of course, where is this? I'm on Instagram under Kim Knows Best, and Facebook is just Kimberly Brooks. I haven't established the website as of yet, but of course, if you want to personally contact my business, it's 678-829-7360, and the email address is unifyingdivisions@gmail.com. So that's unifyingdivisions@gmail.com. That's Kim Knows Best on Instagram. Telephone contact number 678-829-7360. And I deal with, you going fast? Am I going?
No. It was the phone number. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
No, because I made sure that I put those phone numbers separate, because people do call me. I didn't realize I've been working for the community so long that I take so many phone calls that I needed to separate it from my personal line. So I did actually get a business phone for that purpose.
Okay.
People that are older and seniors, they're not on social media. I service a lot of them. Some people don't have access to Wi-Fi, the internet, like people think they do. And actually, I can keep it under control. So it's not a number that I will, be overwhelmed with or anything like that. It's just a regular business number. Okay. But more importantly, I specialize in educational advocacy. business process and systems. I worked for the state of Georgia for approximately 8.5 years. So I'm familiar with most Georgia policies that relates to economic assistance, employment. Just basically my master's degree in public administration. So I specialize in public policy, and I also do life coaching. So I'm building quite a few things here. And like I said, I worked in government trying to let that be the avenue that I use to make a change. And I realized that we need some changes in that government. So I just decided, this was the tip of the iceberg when you touched me. It was the kids. When I didn't think they were going to pass that vote. I'm telling you, I'm serious. I really didn't. Like, I promised to God. But when I woke up the next morning, because I went to bed, I was tired when APS voted. When I woke up the next morning and I saw that, I don't sit on my hands for my children. I won't. And I said on camera, I said I would make sure that I tarnish your political careers if you vote on this. And I'm a child of God. And maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I said it now. So if I don't do it, I'm a lie. I'm not a liar. I'm not. And it's not because I like or dislike anyone else. You have not earned your opportunity to serve if you don't serve our children. And I don't tolerate how to sound TV. We don't negotiate with terrorists. When you bother my children, you are not a good person. When you act outside of the little kid's interest that trusts you, you can't be a good person. So that was a lot of things this year, but it's like God was like, didn't I tell you? So here I am with you, Rashad, today.
Oh, well, I appreciate it so much. I was trying to go through this. Okay. I found the public. Are you speaking about the latest public meeting?
Yes, the public meeting. The Board of Education just had this. Was it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday,
okay,
we had
all right. I'm skipping
Oh
through.
Lord, thank you for getting me on here. Let's see here. I think I was before her.
Oh, you were before her? Oh, so you were at the beginning of the meeting.
I saw it. I'm on. Doggy. I saw you scrolling.
Okay.
Go back. Let me see. So for this one, the facilities meeting, I think I was the second set of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were at the beginning of the meeting.
There were 2 meetings that day. So
are you sure it was this meeting before we go back?
Mm-hmm. So
you're after him?
Mm-hmm. So they call 3 at a time. So that's 1, 2, 3. And I should be the second 3.
Okay. All right.
And on the same day, they had a farewell, and they also had a facilities meeting, which was very, as you see, it confused you. I think that was intentional. I really do.
So pretty much the basic point of everything is saying, okay, and then you were before her though.
You know what? I might have been wrong. Go for it. I think those are the first 3.
The main thing here is, obviously they just.
I am.
This was you.
Oh, my hair.
You good.
My name is Kimberly Brooks. I'm a native of the city of Atlanta for 45 years. I was born and raised in the projects. I had children at 15, 17, and 21. Married and divorced when I was 22 years old, committed violent crimes, was arrested. However, God came into my life and changed me as one of those bad kids, right? So I stand to you before today as a college graduate of Atlanta Metropolitan State College, Georgia State University, and completed my master's at Clark Atlanta University. My 3 children that grew up also are successful careers right now in degrees. I'm a product of what school looks like and what quality education looks like. The young man that did the presentation here today for facilities is like he's been held hostage by the Board of Education. This Board of Education, I was a parent that fought to keep the 13 schools open when Nathan Deal wanted to close these schools. So I will come to you again, and I will say one thing to you: you're committing fraud because you're getting the illusion to these families that you have a plan to close schools to make quality education. That is a lie because you're not counting schools. KIPP, Kendesi, and Purpose Built need to be taken out of the school system, and our superintendent needs to be in control of those schools because he is the expert. So I stand here so that you can see my face, because every single person that votes for this, I am coming after your political career. If we have spoken before this, it becomes null and void because these children, my neighbors, my daughter's friends, all of the kids that come to my house, that sit with me, the community meetings that I've been to, city council meetings, commissioner meetings. I'm what Atlanta looks like. And I represent them because they can't be here. And instead of being able to trust you to do right by my schools, you're closing schools. And you are lying, saying that they need to be closed. That's fraud, because I'm helping parents and those schools shouldn't be closed. So I just want to go on the record and saying that what you're doing is fraud and you're misleading the public.
Oh man, but
wait a minute. Fast forward.
Okay.
I was up there again for the next set of comments.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
That's the one. I want, since we're recording this, let's see here. After all these presentations, they're gonna talk. Just fast forward till people start talking at the microphone again.
All right. Okay, dope. Still taking photos. Photos.
It's after that. They had a meeting directly after this one.
All right. Now the board's speaking to each other.
They're doing commemoration. They talked for a long time. It was painful.
Board's talking to each other again.
Yep. Because
all right, here's people talking again.
Okay, right. So we're gonna fast forward. I was kind of sort of in the middle for this one.
Keep losing.
Yeah, and you didn't recognize me. That's cool though.
No, my back because it was like I already saw you were already in the back earlier. And then so you were like, I was after her, and I was like,
okay, so that's they were after me. I think. Let me see. I took a picture of them. I think they were.
Oh yeah,
they were before me. They were before me. They were before me.
So Peter, mistreatment as
to it. Thank you.
This is funny.
The statement that I'm about to give is for a public comment to be made officially and publicly. So I've submitted complaints repeating mistreatment at Slater Elementary School operated by Purpose Built. This complaint was filed in pursuant to Georgia Code 202-2-1160, OCGA 19-7-5, mandated reported requirements, the Georgia Professional Standards Commission Code of 505-6-01, the Individuals with Disabilities Act, IDEA, procedural safeguards. Formally, I have requested evaluation for many of those children, IEPs, more than 1 year ago, yet no services have been provided to them, and that violates procedural safeguards, Georgia Department of Education requirements. Some incidents referred to physical injury of the children reported. DFAC's case manager failed to notify the parents of disclosures made by the Justice Department constituting a breach of safety while attending Slater Elementary, OCGA 19-7-5. The children now fear their safety attending Slater Elementary School because they're either directly harmed by them or the teachers there, which violates the parents' rights of Code 20-2-1160 of Georgia Professional Standards, Commissions, and Code of Ethics, Section 505-6-10. And I gave you that information to say it formally here before you. Because what I do is I'm going to give you the facts and I email them to you also. So many people have come here and told you what you're doing wrong. Those are the legal parameters that you have violated as it relates to the rights of these children. Purpose Built, Kendesi, and KIP are violating federal policies, and you're closing those schools. Your goal is to educate children, not operating real estate or business or whatever. Our children are not being educated. And I know this because I advocate for those parents. These are Black communities, and they're being exploited by their need for education. Education is a freedom and right. You've been advised.
Man, come on now. But like I said, man, this whole thing.
You know, I forget people can go and see those. I got a text message.
Yeah.
That next morning. And it was from one of my children's former counselor. And she was like, is this Mrs. Brooks' same number? And I was like, yeah. She was like, thank you so much. And I was like, what are you thanking me for? And she's like, I saw you on the public comment. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go. Because before I started working for the state of Georgia, I've always been in the public. But when I worked under the governor, I had to be more, just had to show a level of discretion. And I think that those years drove me crazy, kind of, sort of. It's like I see things. You can't see anything. You work for the state of Georgia. So it's like right now I'm free again. I'm free to say what's on my mind. I'm free to make the changes. And I also feel more equipped. I feel that I'm more well-rounded and sound, in this battle, so that when we do this time, it stays in place. We weave out all of those things that we missed so it can't grow again. So yes, that was me. And my son's friend sent her a message, and I was at City of Atlanta speaking at council. I guess he was getting some kind of license. And he says, look at Mercedes' mom. Look at her mom. She's listening to somebody. And he posted it he sent it to her, and it was on Instagram. And he was like, I don't know what she's saying, but she sounds mad.
He said, I don't know what code OCH 21-3.
I'm a researcher. Law. I'm going to go to law school when I can get this. When I can get time actually and get these things taken care of. I'm in the middle of 3 lawsuits right now, which is why I'm busy. But I walk it like I talk it. You understand? I think I'm God's different child, because most people, I'm not as polished than sometimes, because I love the community. I love the hood. I love being around people like me because it's a cultural thing. But at the same breath, I'm very educated. I'm extremely educated. And anything that can be taught, I can learn.
And hood doesn't necessarily equal uneducated.
Right. And that's the thing. And I try to and that's why I didn't change who I was, because I think it's very important that when you're educated, that you continue to, spend time with those people that you've been in the community with, so that you won't. I believe in building the community from within the community. I don't believe in, I'm successful because I got out. I'm not trying to get out. I'm trying to stay here. And I'm trying to, be a seed to those people around me in this community that I serve. And I be a light to them, and we grow from the community, and the people in that community grow. I don't want to leave the community and come back and service them. I can't experience what they're experiencing in another city. I can't appreciate what they're feeling because I don't have that. Right now, as I speak to you, I'm going through court. I'm going through an eviction. I'm going through unemployment. I'm going through those things. But I have a level of security because I know I will get out of them. And I want the people here to know what you're going through. I'm going through it too. And we together are going to do it. It's not that, that separation that I see in communities where you get to go home and you're safe with your family. But then this family, have you ever looked into the face of a father who's lost their child the way these men have, as a mother that carried those children? You don't get it. You don't get it. If you've ever looked at a child whose mother I'm dealing with now, her daughter can't read, and they promoted her to the next grade, and you have to send your child to school every day. She's a sweet little girl. She's not like the other kids. I have to say that, because some of them kids, I be like, they did it. We can't say nothing now, but they did it. But she has to send her child to school every day. And she's scared of the teacher sometimes, and that happened to me with my daughter. So I won't tolerate that. The God that I serve is the Most High God, and I stand to be corrected unless he comes down here and do it. But I'm on his side and he's on mine. So that's not going to work out well for my opponent, because children are innocent. Right is right. And there's a period after that. I stand on the side of right. If I'm wrong, I'll always apologize. If I make a mistake, I'll always correct it. But I should not live in a world where doing the right thing is costing me so much. And I will never stop doing the right thing. I will never stop fighting for this community. And I like doing it, honestly. I really do. I love people. I love the kids. I harass people everywhere I go. My kids tell me to stop, but if you're around me, it's your problem. You can just leave, but I will talk to you. I'm a skater. I skate at Cascade. I harass everybody in the skating ring when I'm skating. I can skate too, because I love my community. I go outside and I play basketball. I have my own basketball. And I believe in being in the community that I serve and spending time with them and listening to them talk and tell bad jokes and do things that could get them injured. But there we are. And I could also sit in the same corporate room with elected officials, developers, individuals of I would say, elite quality, and I could have a conversation with them as well. And that's what I like to be able to offer to people in my consulting firm. It's a one-stop shop for, those services and needs that people lack that integrity and quality in, where you don't feel a part of the process. You feel like an option. You feel like you're doing it for the money. That's why I do the work, because I want to be a part of the change that I see. I want people to be a part. It's a collaboration of organizations, people. Whatever you need, let's get someone else that I can refer to you to have here. I have a couple of people actually when we get offline to refer. Let you be. We need new journalists. You understand? If we have to depend on this one journalist or this one important person, then we have to all go to them. So what if we have 6 or 7? Then we can get more stories out. But we just have to have people we can trust. So I'm with the underdog, and I'm with building. And when you build from the bottom. And I have a analogy. You probably can see a bottom without a top, but you've never seen a top without a bottom. You know why? Because the bottom matters. You can't have a bottom demolished and you think the people at the top are going to survive. No, you're going to cave in. So I start at the bottom, because that's where it's sound, and that's what really matters. The top won't survive without the bottom. Wasn't built that way, not structurally anyways.
Hold on, Kimberly. I think we got to pass the offering plate around for that one. We appreciate the time so much today, Kimberly Brooks. We appreciate your contributions to the community. Thank you for sacrificing so much for the greater good of humanity and the city of Atlanta.
Thank you.
Once again, I have to throw the disclosure out there. Like you said, like, we love the city of Atlanta. I think the city of Atlanta is the best city ever. We have the World Cup coming next summer. That's well and dandy, 20 years after the Olympics. However, these things are happening, and they also deserve a little attention and light. So thank you, Kimberly, for once again stopping by and showing some love.
Of course. Anytime. You guys have a great day. Thank you for having me.
All right. And as always, my name is Rashad Milligan. Have a good morning. Have a good evening. Have a good afternoon. Have a good night. Have a good day whenever you're watching this. If nobody else told you today, I care for you. Until next time, please take care of yourself.
Rashad, why you didn't hit me up? What's up, Rashad? Hey, Rashad.
What's up, Rashad?
Thank you, Rashad.
Brother, I love you, brother.
What's up, Rashad? What it do, boy?
Hey, Rashad.